With the release of the iPhone 15, the 15 Plus, the 15 Pro, and the 15 Pro Max, I'm getting a lot of questions from you guys. Questions like, for example, Matt, I currently have an iPhone 13. I'm looking to upgrade. Should I get myself an iPhone 15 Pro Max? Is now the right time? Or other people going, I'm coming from an iPhone 10R. Should I get myself a 15 Pro or should I just get myself a 15 normal? What one should I get? Well, today's video is going to probably answer those questions. I'm actually going to make a chart, what you can see right here, and I'm going to move phones around of previous years to tell you of what iPhone you should probably upgrade to and also the priority of what it should be. And let me show you a little bit more about this chart right now. So essentially what I've got here, I've got all of the old iPhones, and then also what we have is the upgrade priority. Number one priority basically means it is a low priority. So this basically means you don't really need to probably upgrade your phone. But if it's say a number 5 priority, it's the other end of the scale. So this is where I would be saying you definitely should be consider upgrading yourself to a new phone. But then the other question is, well, what should I get? Should I get myself a 15 Plus, a 15, or should I get myself a Pro? What model? Well, basically, this is where this chart's going to help here. I'm going to put these phones into which categories, and sometimes we might have either as well, or either. So basically, this means that you could land in either of these categories, that either phone might be the right one for you. But what I will say at this stage, these are my own recommendations. So this is the same thing. If you guys were asking me in a comment right now, what phone should I upgrade to? And you're saying to me, I own a certain iPhone. Let's say I owned an iPhone 14 Pro Max. What phone should I get right now? Well, I'd be giving you my recommendation with that. And without further ado, guys, I'm going to get started with this chart and talk more about it. And we're going to start with some of the older iPhones. So we're going to start if you have, say, an iPhone 6S, iPhone 7, or anything older than that, an iPhone 6 or 5, or any of the old type of phones. We're going to talk about them first of all. So this phone here is actually an iPhone 7. So basically this represents those older phones, a 7 and below is basically what we're going to say here. I would say right now, if you're owning an iPhone 7, it's probably most likely could be somebody else's phone, or you've had this phone for a long time. And basically you're not really caring about too much of getting the newest and greatest thing because you've still got this phone right now. But what I would say is that I would probably say to get yourself an iPhone 15 or an iPhone 15 Plus, and I'd say it's a high priority. Now, the main reason why it's a high priority is because iOS updates are basically gone from this phone. So iOS 16, I believe, was the last versions for iPhone 8 and iPhone 10, but iOS 15 was for the 7 and below. So basically, yeah, there's not really going to be many updates left. So I would consider highly getting yourself an iPhone 15 or an iPhone 15 Plus right now, definitely. The next phone is the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus. So if you own one of these, I would also say I'd put it into the same category. That is a top priority to get yourself upgraded, because iOS 16 was the last sort of iOS you're going to get. You might get a few upgrades in this next year of security. You're not going to get iOS 17, sadly, but you might get a few security patches, but it's time to update your phone. And it's the same as well with the iPhone 10. It's got the same chip in it as the iPhone 8. But what I would say is if you got yourself an iPhone 10, you probably got more of that kind of pro kind of sort of thing. So I'm going to say that you probably are either sitting in both categories here. You either got a phone where you love the pro sort of standard, but you don't mind going to something a little bit better, or at the same time as well, you might want to go for full out getting the best iPhone again. So I'm going to put this into the either sort of equation or either equation, depending on what kind of English you speak around the world. We say either here in the UK. But anyway, that's where that's going to go. The next phone I'm going to talk about is the actual iPhone SE. And when I'm talking about the iPhone SE, I'm talking about the 2020 model and the 2022 model. Now, really what I would say is if you own this iPhone, you're probably not looking to upgrade, apart from maybe if you have the 2020 model, but you're probably just going to upgrade to the same phone again, the 2022 model. Because at the end of the day, this is a budget iPhone. You don't need to kind of get enhancements. You don't need the best of the best. You'd like to have them, but you don't want to spend out too much money. So really, I'm going to say that you are probably quite a low priority, but if you were looking to upgrade, you're probably going to be about a 2 out of sort of 5. sort of category, and you're probably going to get yourself an iPhone 15 or an iPhone 15 Plus. I doubt coming from an SE, you're going to go straight to a Pro Max. You know, you might love to do that, but that would be my recommendation. That is probably not really such a high priority for you. But moving on, let's now go to the next phone. So the next phone is actually the iPhone XR, and this is a fantastic phone, and it's still going around. It's still getting the latest versions of iOS, and it will be for another year. So with this, I'm actually going to say that probably with the XR, I'm going to put you into a 4 here, because at the end of the day, this iPhone, you do need to get it sorted. We've got another year of iOS updates, of the constant ones. Then the year after, you might get a few, so you might want to hang out maybe another year. But I would still say, if you can possibly get yourself a new iPhone this year, I would probably say within the next year, get yourself a replacement for the XR, because it is soon going to be coming out of date with its chipset. And really, that is the same with also the XS and also the XS Max. But I'm going to put this into the either category again. It's going to be my 10 over as well. The reason is because, same thing again, you might have loved the Pro of this version, you might have the Max, but at the same time as well, you might be going, I don't really want to spend too much money again. This might be a hand-me-down sort of model, a second-hand one. So you might be fitting into either equations, but you might also be wanting to look to get yourself, say, a 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max at the same time. So it's going to be an either equation. The next model is the iPhone 11. So the iPhone 11, it's still got a bit more time in it as well. I'm probably going to say that this is probably going to sit again into the same as the iPhone XR. It's basically a 4, personally, in my opinion. And that is where that would probably sit. That you do have a bit more time, but I would seriously think that if you think you're getting an upgrade, probably now is the time, and you'll actually see that difference of upgrades inside your phone. If you came from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 15, your photography, your screen, everything is going to look quite a bit more sharper and better. For the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I'm actually going to say that this one is the first sort of one that kind of is a Pro kind of model that needs to sit at a sort of a number 4 sort of category, that it needs to be updated. So if you do have an iPhone right now that is, say, a Pro model, then it's definitely going to probably sit into the sort of Pro Max sort of category here. And in fact, actually, I'm actually going to bump this up, because at the end of the day, if you use an iPhone 11 Pro and iPhone 11 Pro Max, and then compares it to probably the new 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, you are going to see a big difference. So yeah, high priority, I would say if you've got 11 Pro or 11 Pro Max, I would easily consider getting upgraded right now, probably. So yeah, we're going to leave that one there. The next one is the iPhone 12. Now, the iPhone 12 is still doing very, very well right now. And this is the sort of thing, I would say it's one of those phones where you could possibly go either way with this one. So you could possibly get yourself a new 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max, and it's also probably time to update it as well. But I would also say it's not the top priority. So I'm actually going to stick it here in the 4 category here. So if you've got an iPhone 11, you might get yourself a iPhone 15 or 15 Plus, but you might also step into the Pro sort of category as well if you're thinking of upgrading that as your sort of priority. The next phone after that is definitely the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and this one here is basically similar to the 11 Pro Max, but probably not as much as a priority. So what I would actually say is that it's probably, again, probably about a 4, I would say, on average on this one, because I wouldn't really say consider getting an upgrade on this anytime soon. It's just probably just not worth it, in my honest opinion. Then the next phone after this is the iPhone 13. Now, similar sort of situation to what we had before, but I'm actually going to put it here as a 3, because the iPhone 13, let's be fair, is not the best phone in the world. So I'm actually going to say it does need a bit of an upgrade. You could potentially get one. It's possibly worth doing it. But yeah, I would actually say, again, depending on which route you want to go, you might either want to go for the Plus or you might want to go for a Pro Max. It doesn't really matter. Either way, you're going to get a good upgrade. So maybe consider getting an upgrade if you've got the money to do so. But if you haven't, maybe wait it out another year or 2. So I'm going to put it in that kind of category. The next one then is the 13 Pro Max. And the 13 Pro Max, I'm actually going to say sits probably about here at a number 2. And the reason is because at the end of the day, the 13 Pro Max is still a fantastic iPhone today. And to be honest, compared to the 14 Pro Max, there wasn't much in it, and the 15 Pro Max, apart from maybe that additional zoom, it's still a great phone. You've got a lot of the features that exist today. Probably that zoom and also that dynamic island are probably the only sort of things that are missing here to make it very similar to, say, a 14 or even to a 15. So really, I wouldn't actually say this is a top priority phone. Maybe next year it's going to jump up higher up my list. We'll have to wait and see, but I'd say it sits about there. The next phone then obviously to talk about is the iPhone 14. So if you have an iPhone 14, you can imagine right now, I'm going to stick it right here. It's a low priority. A 14 is fine at the moment. I don't think you need to upgrade at all, really. It's a great phone. If you're rich and you can afford it and you want to, you shouldn't be even watching this video, then go and get yourself a better iPhone at the end of the day. Go and get yourself iPhone 15 Pro Max. But if you were to go and get yourself an iPhone 15, for example, there'd be no point. So again, low priority here. I'm not going to say to recommend upgrade an iPhone 14. And as you can imagine, with the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the iPhone 14 Pro, it's the same thing again. And then with the iPhone 14 and the iPhone 14 Pro Max, you can imagine it's the same thing again. You're just going to probably not going to upgrade. There's no point upgrading really. Yes, we do have that better zoom. Yes, we have that new A17 Pro chipset. There's a few other bits and pieces, USB-C and all of this. But for what you've got with the actual phone, how it actually works, there's just no point really upgrading. And there we have it, guys. There's the chart completed. I hope this actually helps you guys, because you can see here things are a bit moved around. What I would say is replay the video back to where your phone is right now to see if it's worth upgrading. And like I did also say, guys, this is also my own opinion. This is where if people came to me right now and said, what should I do? This is what I would be saying. Other tech YouTubers and other people out there might have different opinions to what I'm saying here, but this is just my own ones. And at the end of the day, you guys are asking me the questions in the comments. And what I will also say is that if anybody else asks me comments, things like this, what iPhone should I get? What I'd really recommend you guys doing is pointing them to this video. And I'm going to probably do the same too. But with that, guys, I hope this helps you out in getting a new iPhone 15 Pro Max, because it is still a great iPhone. But at the end of the day, if you do still have a newer iPhone, it probably might not be worth it. And on that note, guys, it's time to wrap up the video. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. Also at the same time, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparison, make sure you hit that subscribe button followed by the notification bell. Till next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.